We have a surprising Patriots trade incoming as we have some huge Patriots updates on their quest to acquire a wide receiver and a new guy who has been listed as a potential trade candidate for the New England Patriots. We'll tell you all about it here today on the show. I'm Jace Andrews. We welcome you in. I appreciate you joining us. Hope you're having a great Monday wherever you are, or if it's Tuesday and you're watching, we appreciate you as well. But we're going to go right into this one because I find this an intriguing target. Let's talk about that. So the Steelers, the 49ers, the Patriots, and the Buccaneers have been named as possible trade fits for a 5-time All-Pro receiver. You know him, you saw him on the thumbnail, you saw him in that intro. It's DeAndre Hopkins. And yes, he is not the same all-pro receiver that we knew from, his early days with the Houston Texans or even his middle ground with the Arizona Cardinals. Most recently, he's kind of been a traveling guy. Titans, Chiefs, even most recently now with the Baltimore Ravens. And that's exactly why he's on the trading block in the first place, because the Ravens, well, they aren't exactly doing that well. And if you look at the Patriots, I contend that their wide receiver room is in a pretty solid place, especially after yesterday's performance by Pop Douglas. Matt Collins has been less than desirable. Kyle Williams seems to not get that many targets, and Eftham Chisholm finally made his Patriots debut yesterday and was just a kick returner, which you kind of expect for a guy who was at UDFA to make and then made roster. Kayshon Boutte has been fantastic, a guy who's projected a first-round pick at a time. Stefon Diggs has really been a connection for Drake Maye the past couple weeks. The chemistry is definitely building there. Obviously, Hunter Henry and the way he is used in the passing game as well is a big part of the Patriots offense. But I think it's true that the Patriots, they've been playing some decent opponents recently, obviously the Bills game, but they have the Saints and the Titans and the Browns. I mean, they're placing some teams that are pretty easily. Obviously, they've beaten the Saints a little bit harder than it probably should have been, but either way, you beat the Saints. I think a third wide receiver in the mix, or maybe even a guy who could be a 2 to help out with Kayshon Boutte, would be a very big thing for this Patriots squad and could really help them achieve much more than just a playoff appearance, much more than just a playoff run, but potentially, a title run, like legitimately a title run. Like that's how I can see this team and the way that Drake Maye is playing. So let's talk about it. Mike Moratis of the Sporting News said the quote, "The Steelers and the Patriots are mostly healthy at wide receiver, but they could definitely use some more help at the position. New England could use a third receiver to supplement Stefon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte." So where exactly does DeAndre Hopkins fit? Why is he listed as a potential option? We first go to where this came from. Mike Moranis again saying, quote, "One player to keep an eye on at the trade deadline is Baltimore Ravens receiver DeAndre Hopkins, who was listed as a trade candidate by Bradley Locker of Pro Football Focus, otherwise known as PFF. I'm sure you see them on Twitter and, a big part of the football sports media landscape because of their rankings and the way that kind of works out with it. Now, the reason that DeAndre Hopkins is even on the trading block, I think this has to be put out there first, is the Ravens are 1-5. They lost this past week, and although things are looking better, they'll have Lamar Jackson returning next week after their bye. It still is a bad spot for them, knowing that DeAndre Hopkins, at his age, is going to be a free agent next year. And so if a package comes along where they kind of see fit, and if Lamar can't get it going over the next 2 weeks, and we're talking a 1-6 or a 2-6 or a 1-7 Ravens team, that's when the fire sale could start. And I think the first guy off the list would probably be DeAndre Hopkins. So as I mentioned, some possible fits: 49ers, the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Buccaneers as listed by PFF. But what exactly is the sentiment behind him? And is this a guy who we can expect to, be good? Obviously, I'm sure 1-5 team, 1-6 team, whatever it is, you haven't watched too much of the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, you've seen them on prime time, but how does DeAndre Hopkins look? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here. Bradley Locker of PFF says, quote, "Although the Ravens entered play Sunday ranked 22nd in offensive expected play average per play, or EPA per play, whatever, Hopkins has assembled a bounce-back season. His 92.7 PFF receiving grade is the second best among all receivers. On top of that, Hopkins has hauled in 5 of 6 contested targets and has yet to officially drop a pass," end quote. So while this may not be the DeAndre Hopkins of the Texans or the Cardinals or of his early career at all, it is definitely a DeAndre Hopkins that is worth looking at, that is worth going out and making a trade for, because odds are, if the Baltimore Ravens are 1-6, 2-6, or 1-7, the odds of them trading away him are a big piece. Now, does that mean that the Patriots are going to be the only team calling? No, that's where the kind of battle of what exactly can you get out, what's the best package you can give and that they'll accept and be the best package is kind of the more intriguing part. Now, as for Bradley Locker talking about the Patriots and their kind of situation, he said the Patriots, who rank 7th in PFF receiving grade, could seek another field-stretching option for Drake Maye next to Stefon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte, end quote. The one thing that I stop with right here is that Pop Douglas yesterday had a fantastic game and had a absolute 60-plus yard bomb from Drake Maye as a touchdown taken away by a complete and utter disgrace of a pass interference call. If the Patriots are looking for a deep threat option, and over the next 2 weeks, Pop Douglas becomes that option, then it becomes a lot less of a need for the Patriots to go out and get an extra wide receiver. They, in my opinion, are going to be buyers in this trade deadline, which again, it's on November 8th, so we're coming up here in about less than a month now. I feel as though they could look to a couple different places. Their defense has been pretty good. I think they could use maybe one extra linebacker. I like what they have in kind of the guys they've brought in. Defenses look solid, but I think could be better. A wide receiver, though, is the other market, and a halfback is an option as well with the injury to Antonio Gibson. But overall, if you look at this team, they're in a good spot, and if you add DeAndre Hopkins to this, you feel pretty confident. Now, are the stats amazing? No, but he's also on a 1-5 team that has seen their backup quarterback play a majority of the past 2 games, in fact, all of the game yesterday. He still has 178 yards on 9 receptions, just 13 targets, 2 touchdowns, and a 19.8 average. Overall, this is a very good guy to add to the roster. Plus, if you want to talk about it from a logistical standpoint, you have a decently young wide receiver room. I know Stefon Diggs is not in that light, but Stefon Diggs has shown leadership characteristics, but adding in another veteran wide receiver to this group not only believes that you can grow the younger guys like Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, even to an extent Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, but it also creates for more of a defensive analysis of this team. It creates for the opposing team to have to be understanding that a lot of these guys can go deep. Pop Douglas can go deep. So can Hopkins. So can Diggs. There's a way that you can move all these guys around. You can make it to where you put them in different positions on the field. And honestly, I think in some ways it makes it more offensively accessible to the Patriots for other schemes. Now, we know that the long tenured career of DeAndre Hopkins is for sure probably coming to a close. I mean, this guy was drafted back in 2013. I was 12 years old, and he's still in the league here at 2025. Past 2 seasons, a total in 2024 of 610 yards. But going back to 2023 with Tennessee, he had over 1,000 yards receiving. He is a viable option, up until a couple years ago, and even now, I argue that he's just a ladder option on the Ravens field. Over time, they've really liked the use of Rashad Bateman. Obviously, they have Zay Flowers, and Mark Andrews is a very big topic for Lamar Jackson. And I'm not of the conversation that I think Lamar Jackson is not a good quarterback. I think he is a great passing quarterback, and I'm not putting any of that on this. But I think that if you look at the offense from a holistic standpoint, it puts DeAndre Hopkins at a lesser likely to succeed in that offense than I feel like he would be to succeed with the Patriots offense. Now, at the same time, the Patriots have not exactly had these deep threat wide receivers. Stefon Diggs, they have obviously developed Julian Edelman and Hogan back in the day. I mean, there's guys you can go through that were just kind of appeared out of nowhere, but they haven't really done a trade like this. Like, it would be something new. And Mike Vrable coming from the Tennessee Titans, kind of knowing what a playoff atmosphere can be like, and knowing, especially playing with the Patriots, what it can be like in New England. I feel like there's a very good options for Patriots fans, Patriots organization to go out and get somebody in the wide receiver room. If Pop Douglas continues, that's great. But if you can get a cheap guy who's on an expiring deal and you can help your team, I fully believe the Patriots should go out and make a deal, because for the first time in a while, feels like we're going back. It feels like the Patriots are back. Like, legitimately, there are people in our division that hate watching us. That's as back as you can be. The fact that we have gone, 5 years, whatever, it ended up being without Tom Brady and Mac Jones in the first year, he took us to the playoffs and all that stuff. This feels like the real deal this time. Like, Mac Jones, I don't know if anybody else got the sense, but the first year looked great, but it didn't seem like it was going to last, and it didn't. This year, second year. Drake Maye put into a decent and a better situation. The offensive line is just going to get better. The receiving room, obviously adding Stefon Diggs, and there's potential there with Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte. Obviously talking about Kyle Williams as a third-round pick. So I like the options. I think DeAndre would be a good fit, but let me know what you thought in the comment section. This is a guy you want to go trade for. This is a guy you think would be a good option for the Patriots. Let me know your thoughts down below, but we appreciate you. We love you. We hope you have a great Monday, and we'll see you next time here on Patriots Digest. Peace out, guys.